For this assignment, you guys are going to have the opportunity to design your very own book cover. A book cover designer is someone who is generally artistic. They may have a book background in graphic design or fine arts. Sometimes book cover designs are drawings or paintings that have been scanned in. Sometimes they're digital images or photographs. But the most important thing about a book cover design is that the designer has an understanding of the book. They read the book, they figure out who the main characters are, they start developing images that tie into the book. This is really important because when a person goes to buy a book, they are going to actually judge a book by its cover. I know there's that saying that says, don't judge a book by its cover, but we have book covers. People are going to judge a book by its cover. So you need to make sure that your cover does reflect the book. It somehow shows the theme or the style or the feeling of the book. Is this a serious book? Is this a comedy? So the book cover is really important to the understanding of the content of the book. So you have this template. It's a Google slide template in your Google Classroom. This is where you're going to insert your design, and you're going to be able to edit all of this to make this very unique and make it your own. There are instructions here. You'll have different worksheets to kind of fill out to get you started. It's important to gather information about your book that you're working on. And you're going to look at a bunch of book covers of The Great Gatsby, which has one of the most famous book covers, which was the original cover, and a lot of redesigns since then. So you can kind of think about this project as redesigning a book cover. Before you get started, fill out this information sheet about your book and then start looking for images. You can Google images, you can look for photographs. If you are artistic, you can draw your own drawing or painting and you can upload it. Find those images and go ahead and upload them to your Google Drive. You can also save them to your computer and navigate to your computer to upload them. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to find them on your Google Drive. So once you're ready, once you have your pictures, laid out, and this first round, a book designer goes through many, many rounds of design before they settle on the one they want to do. This might be the case for you. You might find an image that you think is going to be perfect, and then you decide to change your mind. So just be prepared for that. I would get a couple different options. You might start this and then decide to go back to the drawing board, so just be ready for that. So let's just say you want to start just by dropping your image in to see how it goes. So I'm going to design a book cover for The Great Gatsby. And I found a couple images that I like, so I'm going to go to my drive. All right, perfect, I'm already in there. So here are just a few images that I dropped in to test out. So let me just go ahead and drop this picture in. So you simply click your image box, and then you click replace image, and then click your drive. Or you can upload from the computer. I'm also going to show you how you can search the web. So for this one, my idea was I would take this photograph and kind of extend it across, because you are not just thinking about the front of a book. Designer doesn't just design for the front, they design for the spine and the back cover. The spine could just be a block of color. It could be a continuation of the picture. Let me go ahead and see if this will work. So I'm going to click this. You could click replace, or you could double click and it'll drop it in. Obviously, I don't want the same picture just repeated, so I'm going to double click, and then you can slide your picture. So I'm going to make this a continuation. All right, slide this all the way over of the original picture. It's a little off, but I don't think anyone will notice. All right, so click off of it to set it into place. Then I'm going to click my back cover. I don't think my picture is big enough to be stretched all the way across from one end to the other. So I'm going to see if I can kind of edit this to make it work. So I'm going to go back to my drive, click this picture. Again, double click to make it so you can slide your picture around. So if I leave this like this, I have a big chunk of her in there. I don't want that. Again, I don't want that repetition in here. So I'm going to double click this. I'm just going to make this a lot bigger and see if I can slide it over and make it work. Okay. All right, so what I just did is I accidentally stretched my image box and not my image itself within the frame of the box. So that kind of messes everything up. I could make this a little bit smaller, but the best thing to do is just to click undo. You have these undo arrows up here. You could also use a shortcut on your computer, which is Control Z or Command Z. All right, so here I'm back. All right, I'm going to double click again, and I'm going to try and just edit the image size within the frame. So I like to tell my students that I screw up so that you guys don't have to. I'm going to make all the mistakes that you maybe would make so that you don't have to. All right, I still have a little bit of her hands. I'm going to stretch this even bigger. All right, slide it over. Oh my goodness. So this one's hard because there's so much of her in there. I'm going to try on this side instead. I'm going to try and get this just all the way out. So, this one, playing around with it as much as I love that front image, maybe isn't the best option, or maybe I could find a way to take that out. You could even get a shape box, drop in a shape box, and try and, match that gray color to cover it up. So let me click this shape box. So I could kind of take that little piece out of it, click this gray box, and there's all kinds of effects you can do here, and there's also ones up here. So this is the fill color. You can click this eyedropper so it matches the theme, which is what it did, which is awesome. There's border color. Obviously, I don't want just a box right here, so I'm going to click border color and make it transparent. So there you go. So that's a really easy way to just cover that up. So you can use your shape tool as well. All right, so obviously, I don't want the Great Gatsby title over her face, although it could be kind of interesting. I'm going to try moving these boxes down, and then maybe I'll format them here. Now, I want you to change the fonts. These are just dropped in as placeholders, so you know what information needs to go where. Go in here, look at the fonts, see if one kind of grabs your attention. Try out a couple different ones. And see if anything works. You can also click more fonts and see if there's a bunch of different fonts that you could add to your font library. Okay, that's kind of a nice clean one. So you can try adding fonts, make this a lot bigger. I like how simple this font is. And you want the title to be the largest, most eye-catching part, because the title is what's so important. So I'm gonna make this even bigger. And the green light is a big part of the Great Gatsby. It represents a lot of different things. So you might want to change this to a green background and then make this font white. So you can see I click the box. This is my text box. It just has a background. I could even make this transparent if I wanted to, or let's try that green. Stick that green in there. The text color is over here. So I'm going to click that, make it white. So this is kind of blending it a little more than I want it to. So again, I might have to go back to my fonts and pick, a more bold font to kind of stand out against that green background. So now with the font, I'm really not liking that green as much. I might keep playing around with this. Maybe make it more of a 1920s green rather than a neon green that's more popular right now. Let's try that one. So, not loving it, but I'm going to keep playing around with it. Another thing you can do is you can drop in other images on top. You do have these 3 image boxes as kind of your layout. This is formatted to a 5x8, which is a standard book size. If you made your own design, let's say you have Photoshop or something like that, and you wanted to put together a more complicated design, you can do that. Just format it to a 5x8, and then you can add it to your Google Drive and upload it. If you want to add another image, you just hit this image box, and you say, either upload from your computer or from your drive. I'm going to try this green light and add this in. Now, one fun trick that you can kind of try out, if you search for an image that has a transparent background or an image that's a ping, they don't always, they might say it's a transparent background, but sometimes it isn't actually, so you might have to hunt around a little bit. But a ping is an image that can have a transparent background. So if you find that and save it and then upload it, you can incorporate these cool images without distracting or having a weird box in your book cover design. So let's just say I want to drop this guy in as kind of that green light. I'm going to send backwards, so you can right click and click order, send backwards, send backwards. So you could, drop this little ball in there, and then maybe I don't have I have a transparent background, and the Great Gatsby title is there. Maybe I decide I want to make this a lot bigger and fit in that circle. So again, you can just play around with this. There's a lot of things you can do to make your book cover design really great. And when you pull in things like this green light reference or the 1920s style or, you know, a female main character, that's showing that you have an understanding of the story. So that's important. It's important to have those details included. So don't forget to put your author's name in there. I can't type and talk at the same time. And then my tip with fonts is to have a decorative font if you want to for your main title, and then have a really simple font for your author name. So I might even stick with Arial, and then make this a lot more narrow. And again, it's important for the author's name to stand out as well. So you kind of want to make sure that that's not just hidden in a corner. The author is responsible for the book, and that's really important. And you could also play around with all caps. So, you know, play around with the author's name and how you want to format that. And again, you will want to update all of these. You know, if I decide to stick with this lobster font, then I'll probably want to do that on the spine as well. Oops. So if I want to stick with this kind of green idea, this green light, then maybe I want to stick with that in this box color as well. Or you could leave it a simple white, or you could even take this transparent out and you could try this as white. See if that blends in too much. To keep the spine a little more simple. And again, you want to probably make this a little bit bigger to make sure it stands out on the spine. So that gets a little lost. You could position it a little bit further down and then maybe put the author's name up here in black. And then you also want to do your synopsis. On the back of books, you know, people when they're looking for books, even when they're looking for them online, since so many books are digital, they'll read a synopsis. There's still cover art that goes with digital books. So you want to write up your synopsis of the book. Again, this shows your understanding of the general themes, the general feeling of the book, the main information. You're not giving away any spoilers here. You're just trying to hook in the buyer. So you're going to type up your synopsis and put it here. And again, try and stick with similar fonts. If you did Arial here or maybe Times New Roman there, then make this match that font. Don't have 17 different fonts. Kind of think about that. All right, so this is kind of coming along, but I'd probably still play with this. Another option, other than just finding pictures and uploading them or doing your own design and uploading them, is you could click on this and you can replace this as many times as you want, and you can search the web. And maybe I want to look for like a 1920 pattern. Let's see if that brings up anything. Or Art Deco is a good one. Let's look at Art. So, you know, maybe I decide I want to drop in something like this. Test out these different patterns. You know, maybe I want something like this kind of layered on there. Or maybe I try layering some images together. So play around with the patterns, play around with the designs, and just really think about what your connection is to your book. And when you're all done, make sure you put the book title, the author's name, and your name here. And then you're going to turn it in to your teacher. And then they'll be able to open up your book cover for your classmates to look at it and comment on it. So this is just a cool little design project and an English connection. So this is really for those who love art and love to read. There's a lot of things that go together between those two things. So good luck designing your book covers.